Singapore's central bank has warned that a correction in the global tech cycle could be among the risks for the economy next year. This is even as it expects growth to be broadly similar to this year. Some analysts are also saying geopolitical risks are here to stay. Despite the challenges, the economy is expected to end on an upbeat note, with the GDP at the upper end of the 2 to 3% forecast.
For a trade-reliant Singapore, growth for the rest of this year and in 2025 should be supported by ongoing recovery in the global tech cycle. According to the central bank, recovery should expand beyond artificial intelligence-related infrastructure to consumer devices. It says growth could pick up further from end 2024 as manufacturers ramp up shipments of AI-enabled PCs and smartphones. More local firms are also digitalizing and using AI tech. Such a scenario could mean the information and communications sector looking set to expand further. But their performance could be dampened by risks posed by rising geopolitical tensions and the outcome of the US presidential election.
Should the new president favor a substantial hike in tariffs, whether it's for China or its US's trading partners, this could dampen business sentiment, raise up the production costs, and therefore weigh on demand of good shipments such as electronics and the trade-driven electronics upcycle.
The Monetary Authority of Singapore has noted that ASEAN countries have come out on top in the US-China trade war. It says the manufacturing sector in Singapore could gain by meeting higher demand for upstream and midstream components.
Given the geopolitical risk isn't going to diminish over time, indeed, it looks like it's going to be a permanent picture now, which is why we have seen, and we are likely to continue to see companies continue to rejig the supply chain, and in terms of production processes, etc., things are not going to be going back to pre-pandemic or pre-2016, for instance.
Singapore's central bank remains cautiously optimistic for the year ahead with these risks in mind. It will review their policy next January.
Well, let's stay on this story, get some analysis. For that, we're speaking with Professor Sumit Agarwal. He is from the NUS Business School. Prof, welcome. Now, is the potential slowdown in the global AI-led tech recovery something that you're concerned about?
I mean, look, AI has its promises, but obviously we know AI is not a panacea for everything. We will expect economic growth in the AI sector to be slower because the other sectors are not yet ready, and there are complications of adopting AI by businesses and service sectors. So I don't think this will be a big hamper to economic growth. And I think businesses are cautiously optimistic on how to adopt AI going forward.
Interesting. Nevertheless, if the slowdown in AI-led recovery, how will that trickle down to local businesses?
Yeah, so I think when we think about local businesses, because of COVID, a lot of businesses had already adopted technology in their production processes and even in the service sector. So the additional growth that may come from AI is marginal at this point because a lot of that was front-loaded because of COVID. So I'm not sure the slowdown in AI at this point will affect business growth and forecast of business growth that much today. If we were talking 5 years from now, yes, clearly AI slowdown will have a bigger impact on local economies around the world.
So in some senses, it's been built in or priced in, but if firms were to take steps to prepare themselves for a slowdown in AI, even though it's not as extreme, how would they go about doing that?
So clearly, I mean, the clear switch for companies is to switch from technology to labor. And this is very easy switch right now. And a lot of companies already have these backup plans to realize, okay, what if technology growth is not there? The potential of AI in actually increasing productivity or efficiency does not pan out because the AI growth potential that we were seeing is not going to result in efficiency, we'll just fall back to our labor, and labor is anyway cheaper, and that will continue to deliver on potential growth that we have.
I understand. Now, moving on to the MES outlook for the Singapore economy, they're putting it at an optimistic upper end of 2 to 3% despite global uncertainties. Do you share that? Is there reason to be optimistic?
Clearly. I mean, look, the forecast is but very nuanced for Singapore. They are basing it on sectors and factors. Sectors like which sectors in the Singapore economy will lead to this growth, and factors like lower inflation and regional growth being very high in ASEAN countries, despite China's economic slowdown, is what Singapore is projecting where Singapore economy will be. And all of this kind of suggests that Singapore is poised to grow very strongly, one, because of the labor force, low inflation, low wages, and higher output.
You know, you mentioned slowdown in China. We have other global geopolitical uncertainties as well, including the outcome of the U.S. presidential election just around the corner, the ongoing U.S.-China tensions as well, and then we also have the Middle East tensions. Now, analysts saying these risks, they're here to stay. You share that?
I mean, look, we don't know. It's one way or the other. If you think about the U.S., Trump is talking about tighter migration policies, higher tariffs. All of this will be inflationary and affect U.S. economy in one way. If we think about Kamala Harris, she's thinking of a greener economy. She will be thinking of an expansionary fiscal policy. So either way, U.S. economy will be slower. So it's not like really there's uncertainty. There is certainty that U.S. will be going in one direction, which will be a slower economic growth for U.S. Now, if we think about other countries like China, we already know what is happening in China. The tension with the U.S. will continue because either party, if they come, they will treat China as an adversary because of trade and because of the big deficit that they have and which China owns. In the Middle East, I think that's more transitory. Once there is settlement between Israel and Hamas, I think that will calm down in a few months. That's not a longer-term process, unlike China and U.S.
All right. We appreciate you weighing in on Singapore Central Bank forecasts growth insights for 2025. I've been speaking there with Professor Sumit Agarwal from the NUS Business School. Thank you.